The lies, the nastiness, the endless attacks on myself and my family, my children. They follow us. They follow my children. Take pictures of them. They park outside of our house. These people are evil bastards. These people are evil bastards. Evil bastards. Evil bastards.
I talked to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she's required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live, the Zoo. Welcome back to the show. This is the best day of the week when it comes to discussing what the hell is going on out there, right? Now, we all went through a long week. Then we take a couple of days off. Try and clear our heads, spend some time with the family, relax a little maybe. Get some work done around the house. But come Sunday night, I start getting jittery. I start getting itchy. I start getting anxious. I want to start talking about shit hitting the fan. You know what I'm saying to you? You know what I'm saying to you, huh? You know what I'm talking about. You know. Okay, folks, it's Sunday Night Live. And this is the show where you guys share that internet address right up there. That one. That URL, that internet address is a ticket to mental freedom for people who don't get it. They need some help. Help them find us. Help me, help you, help them. Wake the hell up, right? Red pill them. So I say that every Sunday, right? Share that address. We're live right now. Share that address. Help people hear something that they need to hear, right? Sunday mornings, you can go to church. Sunday evenings, you spend that time with me. And we talk about what's going on today. SHTF, the crap they're doing to us in Washington, in Europe, at the European Union, at NATO, at Davos, Switzerland, all the shit they're doing to us. Well, we're going to have an exciting, fun show. I've got a lot of information I want to talk about. But what's unique about the Sunday Night Live, folks, is you. That's right. You get to pick the topics if you want. All you got to do, folks, is hit that super chat button and make a donation. And it goes into the GTFB and SB fund, the Get the Fuck Back and Stay Back fund. That, right, supports the channel. It keeps me right here in the bunker talking with you guys, right? We've got stuff to pay for. The preparedmind.club. It's not free. All the things we do, it's not free. Everything, it's just so crazy, folks. And you guys have made this possible by supporting it for a long time. And so thank you, and thank you. Every Sunday we do this, and thank you. Now, the discussions as of late have been very sober indeed. Sobering. We have an election coming up. Not Tuesday, 2 days from now, but next week, folks, next Tuesday. It's 8 days and a wake up, and it is the midterm election. And I say It is, to date, the most important election we've ever had because so many people are now red-pilled. They're waking up, and they see the Democrats for what they are. And by the way, even though it has been a sobering couple of weeks, I decided that this Glenn Levitt there, 18-year Glenn Levitt, is available for $100 Super Chat donations. And only the $100 Super Chat donations. That way you guys don't get me blasted out of my mind. Anyways, it is your show. You guys run this show on Sunday night. Now, you ask the questions, right? Super Chat donation button. Get your question to me. Jolene will put it up on the board, and we'll get it on. We'll absolutely get it on. So I want to start off with our weekly ass-kicking message, question, comment. It is Darcy T who sent a $50 Super Chat donation in. And she says, "Good evening, John. I'm hearing that some areas of the United Kingdom," that would be England, Britain, to you and me. She said, "I'm hearing that some areas of the UK may be considering limiting personal travel to a 15-minute radius around your home due to the climate change emergency." She says, similar to what they did with cerveza bug. What are you hearing? Any chance that might come here? Yes. They're pushing it. This is, in my opinion, Darcy, this is a trial balloon. This is their attempt to see what the world thinks of it, to see how the people react. They'll try it in a few random communities, a few cities, and go, hey, we've got a climate crisis. We really need to cut back on our carbon emissions. So we're going to limit you to how far you can travel. Now, they locked us down for cerveza bug, and the world's like, you know what? Enough of that shit. But now, hey, it's not about the cerveza bug. Now we want to limit your travel based on the climate crisis, the crisis that is not reflected in sea level depths. In fact, there was a video that was sent to me by Mr. Skylight, and we attached it to the preparedmind.club and also Subscribestar for viewers there to listen. This guy said for the last 50 or 60 years, it's always a crisis that'll happen in the next 10 years, right? It is, right? The 60s was we're not going to have enough fuel in the last 10 years. The 70s, this guy said, we're going to have an ice age in the next 10 years. And then the 80s was another problem. And then it was more climate change. It's going to get too hot in the next 10 years if we don't do stuff, right? The polar bears are all going to drown in the next 10 years. Oh, we have terrorism. We have to stop it in the next 10 years. Oh my God, we're going to have a pandemic unless we do something in the next 10 years. It's always something, and it'll happen in 10 years if we don't do something right now. That's kind of what I think about it. I'm hearing, folks, that this is just a bunch of bullshit. Will people allow themselves to be controlled by their government? The answer, I say, no. Maybe in some locales, maybe in some cities, sure. But overall, no, I really don't think the people are going to fall for it. What they can be done to them, though, is the government can completely screw up the supply of energy, fuel, gas, oil, natural gas, electricity. They can screw that up so people can't go anywhere. Germany is being especially hard hit with the electricity and energy costs. Factories are shutting down. Well, they can't afford it. You know, they can't afford to fulfill contracts because energy costs too high. So it's a force majeure. They don't have to fulfill contracts. They shut the factories down or reduce production super low. And what does that mean for the worker? That's right, folks. This comes back to the regular people. People like you and me who have jobs, who have bills, who need to buy tuna fish and Spam to put in their kitchen to eat. You're going to have less money for food, less money for clothes, less money for your kids, less money for gasoline, which has gone off the hook in expense. That's exactly what this is about. It's about control. They want people to be afraid of government and how they are locking everyone down. They truly want people afraid. Oh, are they going to lock us down because of pandemic? Are they going to lock us down because of the climate? Are they going to lock us down because of the war? Are they going to lock us down because we don't say what they want us to say socially? You're not allowed to criticize the LGBTQ movement. You're not allowed to criticize the critical race theory. You're not allowed to criticize leftists in politics. You're not allowed to criticize celebrities, the news media. You should be criticizing everything. If they tell you not to, it's because they're wanting to hide what crimes they're committing. Am I committing any crime sitting here? Nope. No one is being hurt by me and you on this channel talking. We're not hurting anyone, yet they want to silence us. Normally, we would have well over 300 people live by 10 minutes. Right now, we're at 250. Why? Because they are censoring and silencing this show. If you're new to this show, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to this channel. And I wonder how many times, how many days before you realize you've been unsubscribed. They'll unsubscribe you just like that. They do it all the time. I get complaints all the time. Why did you unsubscribe me? Why did you kick me off of your show, right? It's like, why would I unsubscribe people? What if I could and I can't? Why would I silence you or censor you, right? Well, unless you're just a complete off-the-wall nut job troll, because we don't allow trolls. Anyways, yes, folks. And yes, Darcy. They want to find out what we're willing to accept at this time. They want to control us. They want to keep us within 15 minutes of our home. Remember when Cerveza Bug lockdown? Right? You were allowed to go from your house to the store, but only if you really needed stuff, as if you had to justify leaving. And you could only buy necessities, essentials. In fact, only essential workers were allowed to go to work. Everyone else was non-essential. Right? To be not included as essential makes you non-essential. Unbelievable, folks, how they treat us. Me, you, everybody. Thank you, Darcy, very much for your great contribution to the GTFB and SB Fund, right? I'm not sitting in a jungle. I'm not sitting in a hammock, and I'm certainly not sipping a pina colada, but I'm sipping some tea. Anyways, and thank you, Heidi, for your donation as well. Always, always, always thank you to everybody who makes this show happen. It's not just the super chat donations and the super thanks and the super this and the super that, but your super questions, your super comments, your super observations, right? We're all superheroes that way because you guys see stuff out there. You see things all over the planet. What is happening? It's quite interesting. Now, this weekend has been what I call especially interesting. You know, I actually call this the Pelosi says it's Sunday Night Live. And unfortunately, they don't have a Twinkie. A Twinkie emoji. They have a cupcake. And they got hot dog. And we got some interesting stuff. Right? We got some interesting stuff out there. Having to do with the Pelosi incident. And I've wanted to talk about this, right? It was so interesting, this entire event. Once again, Pelosi is in the news, Paul Pelosi, because something crazy happened. But it's not something they can spin as good. Even Elon Musk, the new owner of Twitter, it's interesting, though. He put some stuff up about the Pelosi incident, and then they took it down. Hillary Clinton came out and blamed the attack on Paul Pelosi on, you guessed it, you right-wing Republicans have caused this. You did this. This is your fault. I couldn't believe that. Yeah, fact check on that, please. Beep, 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 beep. Fact check, aisle 5. right? Sorry, Hillary. It wasn't Republicans. The Democrats actually, get this, the day after the event, so on Friday, they created a web page claiming it was created and run by the guy who beat the shit out of Paul Pelosi with a hammer. They claimed, right, that was his page, and they put a bunch of Republican talking points in it, and then they took it down Saturday because it was so it's just unbelievable, right? Plus the creation page, right? The creation date was created after the event, as if from the jail cell he created, right, a history of hating Democrats for himself. And it's turning out that this guy is he's a Marxist nudist. He's a Castro nudist. What the hell is a Castro nudist? I just figured that's a commie nudist, right? He's from the Haight-Ashbury district of Berkeley, communist nudist Democrat, and they wanted so badly for him to be a Republican. They can't do it though, folks. They can't do it. And so Elon Musk said, I think there's a little more to this than they're telling us. That's a paraphrase, but he's alluding to the fact that there's a lot more out there than we're being told. So number one, where is the surveillance footage of the break-in? This is Nancy Pelosi's house. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. You're going to tell me she does not have a surveillance system and an alarm system and armed security? Okay, maybe no armed security because she's in Washington. Maybe. Right, so a guy in his underwear is running down the street in Nancy Pelosi's neighborhood. He makes a turn, a left turn into the yard, makes a left turn and goes in through the back door. He entered the Pelosi residence through the back door. You can't make this shit up. Right now, the pictures from helicopters circling show broken glass out on the patio, the steps outside his back door. Folks, when you are outside and you break in, the glass goes into the room because you're breaking in. You don't like break in and then start tapping glass back out at yourself. That's not how this happens. So it appears that possibly someone smacked a glass pane, sending glass outward. Yeah, once again, reality, physics. Oh no, John, when you shatter glass, it just explodes in all directions. Okay, yeah. We'll just go with that, right? So yeah, they broke into Paul's back door. Well, there's just so much to this. There's so much to this. There's a lot more to this. 2 a.m. I mean, isn't that about the time that bars in California close and people go home with whoever they've picked up at the bar? Right? I mean, there's a lot of people. And remember, this is a channel of satire, and I am not spreading rumors. I'm just sharing what other people have surmised or guessed. How about one that maybe Paul Pelosi is gay? And maybe this happened. Maybe the perpetrator, the bad guy that beat the hell out of Paul with a hammer, maybe this Twinkie of a guy, right, didn't get paid for his services. Right? Maybe Paul got hammered at the bar, then got hammered in his back door, and then got hammered with a hammer. I think that's what a lot of people start saying. They're kind of thinking that there's a lot more, that Nancy is bearded. In other words, right? Yeah, this is an embarrassment for the Pelosi's. The timing is impeccable for the election, for them to look like a bunch of crazy screwball California dupes. which is what they are. Remember, Nancy left her house, went down, got her hair done at a beauty salon while the rest of the planet was locked up. But the lady at the beauty salon filmed her coming in and filmed her getting her hair done and then released it to the public just to show, hey, this is what your leaders think they can get away with. Thought that was great. That's the Pelosi's, right? And again, I don't feel bad at all. Everyone gets their ass kicked. Everyone gets to feel pain. Everyone gets to suffer. Could this be karma rearing its head with the Pelosi's? Well, a lot of people would make that argument, right? Insider trading, enriching themselves, selling America out, destroying America. Well, I guess you should pay your strippers and pay your prostitutes and pay them well, or they get mad and they'll hammer you out. Again, I've talked about this. I don't need to feel bad about the Pelosi's. They would. And you've seen the look on Nancy's face as she tears up the president's State of the Union speech, as she gives him the clap. Oh, you think, right? Trying to insult the president in front of the world, talking shit, talking smack, trying to steal your First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, 10th Amendment. Anything that's of value that she can steal, she would. That's stealing, folks. It's unconstitutional because she is that's right. She is a government official. She's an elected representative who is doing everything she can to take your rights, not communicate them to you. So yeah, folks, hot dogs and Twinkies. I wonder what they're going to have next at the Pelosi residence. And that's why I thought, tonight, why don't I bring out my Glenn Levitt and put a big old price tag on it? $100. Why? Because there's a huge price on our heads, folks, put on there by the Pelosi's. They want to shut this down. They want to shut us up. And they can't. They can't. They really can't shut us up. They're going to keep trying, though, for sure. Fuzz sent me this. He said that the Pelosi attacker was carrying zip ties. Remember how part of the story was that he was trying to tie him up. Maybe the Twinkie was trying to play a little bondage game with his buddy. And whoops, that didn't go over as well as they thought it would. Right? Someone got on the phone, I think it was Paul, called the police and made a complaint. Hey, there's got some stuff going on inside the house here. I got a problem with this guy. And, oh, he's a friend of mine. He's a friend of yours. What kind of friend beats the shit out of you with a hammer and causes skull fractures, Apparently Paul got his ass kicked and beaten. Kind of reminds me of the movie. There was a movie clip I saw years ago, As Good as It Gets, with Jack Nicholson. Well, one of the secondary protagonists, he was kind of like an antagonist protagonist. He bothered Jack a lot. He bothered Jack. And anyways, he was a gay artiste, and he invited some guy in to paint a picture of him nude. And, they found out what an easy target he was, and they beat the shit out of him and robbed him. These people, folks, I think Paul Pelosi may have gotten it's as good as it gets, hot dog hammering. Anyways, there's going to be so much more, folks. There's going to be so much more. There's a lot of video going around right now of the nanoparticles inside of the Jim Jones juice. There's a lot of film going. It's really being exposed now. Not as exposed as the Pelosi's and their sickness. Just what the Democrats needed 1 week before the election is another embarrassing episode from the publicly drunk and stupid inside the Pelosi clan. Incredible, incredible. Well, let's do this. I know I spent a lot of time on that. I couldn't help it. If you've got an observation, a joke, a quip, a fun fact, you might just want to get it in here in the super chat. We've got 350 people here, and Chin Music steps up with a $9.99 super chat donation. And he says, dollars to donuts, the event at Pelosi's turns out to be a game of San Francisco Twister gone terribly afoul. Can you please do your phone bit imitating the 911 operator? Okay, now remember, there is also a third person in the house. Who is this third person? Right? So, right, the dispatcher's sitting around going, just wondering what the hell's going on, and ring, 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 and they go, 911, how can I help you? Yes, this is the police. How can we help you? Oh, the Pelosi residence. Yes, we're familiar with you. Thank you for making your donations to the police department. Yeah. We know that you got in that. No, it's cool. You got in a wreck. We did what we could to help you out there. It's fine. Yeah, no need to thank us for that. But you've got another problem already? I mean, what the hell's wrong with you, man? I mean, Mr. Pelosi, what the hell is wrong with you? What's going on? Oh, a friend of yours is going a little nuts in the house, huh? You've got there's other people there. What is this, a party? Do I hear the village people in the background? Is that YMCA? Oh my goodness. Oh, well, I get it. I mean, yes, a man can have some boyfriends that are just boys and friends over. I get it. No, I don't want to see pictures. No. Do not text pictures, Paul. That's very bad. Nancy, well, we know. Yes, we know who your wife is. Yes, I know she's very powerful. I get it. She's not going to want to see you. Think about it, Paul. Stop for a minute. Okay, so you came from a bar. Okay, you met some really nice guys. Okay, I get it. Yeah. You like guys. No. Okay, it's fine. Okay. Now, wait, did I just hear glass breaking? What? Okay. Now, Paul, work with me here. You called me. I didn't call you. You called me. That's right. 911 here, Paul. Wake up, pal. Wake up. Yeah, you make Dean Martin sound sober. Hello, Paul. Wake up. Okay, there you are. Now, what is going on, Paul? People are taking their clothes off. They're putting them on. Well, okay, let's just go with they're naked. People are naked. And I hear glass breaking. So I'm now going to send a squad car out. Paul, listen to me. It's very important. Is your surveillance system on? Okay, do not hit the erase button. Don't do that. Not good. Because if someone commits a crime, we need to catch the bad guy. Okay, that's what the police do, Paul. After the crime is committed, we'll show up 15 to 3 hours later. 15 minutes to 3 hours later. That's how we work. Hey, I'm not the one defunding the police, Paul. You and your wife are. Remember that. Okay, now, we've got glass breaking. You're very upset, and you're hammered. No surprise there, Mr. Pelosi. Yeah, we know that's how you operate. Now, oh, someone has a hammer. Oh, good golly. Yes. Well, I've already dispatched the squad unit. No, I'm going to now dispatch 2 units. No, 3 units. 3 units. Okay. No, look, no. The guys that show up are not from the village people. They're going to be real policemen. No. They're not from the Blue Oyster. Yes, I get it. The gay bar from the movie Police Academy. Yes, that's very funny. Very cute, Paul. Paul. I guess he finally got hammered again. I love doing that. I love having some fun. Improvisationally making phone calls, demonstrating the ridiculousness of the political leftists. Frickin' morons. Okay, Jolene, do we have another super chat donation to take care of? I think we do, and it's Mr. Skylight with a $49.99 super chat donation. And he's got a quote from Mahatma Gandhi here. And I want to thank you, Mr. Skylight, for all of the great information you send to me on the back. I wish I could keep up. It's so hard to keep up with everything you send. But hey, here's the quote, though, from Mahatma Gandhi, sent in by Mr. Skylight. He says, quote, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." It's really important, folks. It truly is. Mahatma Gandhi, he served all the people of India by telling them how to throw off the chains of servitude. That's right, folks. You see, India was a colony of England, but the Indian people actually won their freedom, their independence from Britain, Great Britain, England, right? Now, what was interesting is people like to think that Mahatma Gandhi is a pacifist. No. They would have actually used guns if they had them in order to win their freedom. But without firearms, because they were not allowed. Remember, after the American Revolution, the Brits figured out that the people that they take and keep in servitude, aka slavery, without chains, slavery without ropes, slavery without bindings, you made sure that they had no guns. They learned that one from us in America. Well, they didn't have guns, so they had to use other means, methods, and techniques. Thank you, Mahatma Gandhi, for helping the people figure that one out. But, folks, I do not want to go to a world in the United States of America where the police have guns and the people don't, where the military has guns and the people don't, and where the government has guns and the people don't. Mahatma Gandhi said they would have used guns if they had them. We have guns. Take note, Washington, D.C. Remember what they're there for. It's not for duck hunting, right? It's in service to others. And I am coming full circle, aka circle back the way Jen Psaki never could. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. The people that fought the American Revolution fought not only for their own freedom, but for the freedom of their family, the freedom of their towns, the freedom of a people, and the freedom of a nation. They served others and they found out what they were made of inside. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Doesn't mean you have to die. It doesn't mean you have to, shall I say, put your life at danger. But you have to give something of yourself, and you find out who you are by doing it. Right? I don't have a house. I've got this. Right? I don't have the palatial mansion that I once had. I don't have the fifth wheel I once had. I don't have, well, I'm not in the yurt anymore. But you give, and you give things up. You make sacrifices. You work hard for others. And you see this in politics a lot. Not from the people at the top who actually get a paycheck, but the people that volunteer their time and service. People, a lot of you volunteer and you put time into sharing information in the Prepared Mind Network. And that truly, folks, means a lot. When I see that, it shows me, right, what we're all doing, sharing information and telling people, wake up. We're going to have to fight for our lives and fight for America. Hopefully, we don't have to go so far as they did in 1776, but a lot of people, even people that don't like what you and I talk about, they say, it's going to be a revolution. Even though they don't like what we talk about here, they say it anyways because they know what's coming. Anyways, I think we need more people online. We're at 358 people, and I want to blow through 400. So hit the share button. Hit it on text messaging, email, however you need to do it. Carrier pigeon, smoke signal. Get people to wake the hell up, folks. It is Sunday Night Live. And we've got a lot to talk about. We do 2 hours every Sunday to discuss the actions of the day, the actions of the weekend, the actions of the week, and what it is that's happening. Okay, Jolene, who wants to step up next? It is Christine Behana with a $10 super chat donation. And she says, 2, 1, I've been hearing that the strategic oil reserves were built to support the military in case of war. Is this true? And 2, Potato is giving it away? Now what? I tell you what, the strategic oil reserves are strategic. A lot of things are done by government, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to us, Christine. In fact, a lot of times they'll tell us they're doing something for one reason, and then a couple years later, they'll tell us they're doing it for another reason. Now, in the state of California, we were told that the California gas tax, this is years ago, because of a referendum that people said was all that money for the gas tax, we want separated, put in its own private money account to pay for the roads because it's supposed to be for the roads. Well, California, the state said, yeah, that's what the people want. They passed a law. That's right, a referendum. And they still didn't do it. In other words, the government will say all kinds of things about what something is for and then do whatever the fuck they want with it. Strategic oil reserves. Yeah, they're going to use it for whatever they want. At this time, Potato Joe is not giving it away. Oh, no. He would never give away your oil, not when Joe can sell it. And the big guy gets 10%. Now, I don't know who the big guy is, but apparently he gets 10% of everything. So why give away when you can make 10%? I'm sure. Right. I'm certain of that. The strategic oil reserve was supposed to be kept around for strategic purposes. I mean, normally, like right now, we don't have enough oil. We don't have enough crude. We don't have enough processed fuel, right? So what was it that Biden's administration was doing? Selling it, not giving it to us, the people, not putting it into our production, not putting it into our infrastructure, but selling it to other countries. Isn't that crazy? I find that absolutely crazy that he would do that. It's almost like they're screwing up on purpose. Yeah, it really seems that way, does it not? Unbelievable. All right, that was a great question. Great comment, great topic. Our energy. I mean, right now, Biden killed the pipeline. Keystone Pipeline, kill it. Who wants permission to go exploring for oil? Okay, get all their permits and then go burn them in that trash can. All right, who is doing some new exploratory drilling already and stop those projects? Okay, who's offshore wanting to do that? Okay, just no more offshore drilling, no more offshore permits, no more offshore production. Stop it now. We're going to go to our enemies in Iran and Venezuela and beg them for oil. And then we're going to beg the Saudis for oil, and they're all going to laugh at us. Good plan, good plan. And that's Biden at his board meeting in the White House. Unbelievable. All right. Unfreaking believable. Jolene, who's next it is Joseph Vallo with a $2 super chat donation. And he says, stick out like a nail. You're bound to get hammered. Rim shot. Ooh, another veiled joke about getting one in the rear entrance like Paul Pelosi did. Rim shot. Stick up. Yeah, that was actually a Japanese proverb, right? If you're the nail that stands up, you're going to get hammered first. And folks, this reminds me of the media and the Democrats, right? Anytime they have a problem, right, they treat everything like it's a nail, and they take the hammer out and they start beating the Republican nail, right, with the Republican hammer. It's the Republicans. The Republicans did this. Trump is causing people to go crazy and beat and attack Democrats. The only Democrat getting beaten and hammered is Paul Pelosi, right? Now, Rand Paul was beaten by his neighbor years ago, assaulted by his neighbor, and that's right, Paul and Nancy Pelosi's daughter went on mainstream media and applauded it, laughed about it, celebrated it, was happy with it. That's right. Well, Paul actually, Senator Dr. Rand Paul. That's right, Senator Dr. Rand Paul, who was attacked years ago. He came out and said, unlike the Pelosi's, I'm going to condemn this violence. Well, I don't know how familiar Paul was with the hot dog and how familiar Paul was with the cupcakes he was dealing with Saturday night. Was this more of a business deal gone bad? You got to pay to keep your dogs from barking, Paul. Or was it an estranged lover? This was a domestic dispute. Now, there has been some concern over the safety of Paul Pelosi's attacker. There is fear out there that before he gets a chance to tell his side of the story for a couple $1 million, I mean, good golly, the National Enquirer, the Sun, the Star, the Washington Post, someone's going to pay big money for his side of the story. I wonder if Nancy Pelosi, political star child of the mafia, or so I hear, allegedly related to the mafia, I wonder if she's going to have him fucking waxed, rubbed out. I find it hilarious in a lot of ways that they weren't able to keep this one quiet. And folks, I got to tell you, this is why so many people in America have police scanners, so they can scan the police band, ambulance band, fire, whatever, right? All of the first responders out there. I'm sure there are people like, oh my God, I just heard that there's a problem at the Pelosi residence. And they pick up the phone and they're like, hey, Fred, get on the scanner, man. Hit the record button. There's something going down at the Pelosi residence. Something about Paul's hammered. We know Paul's always hammered. I know that, damn it. Record this shit. Something's going on. There's someone's naked running around the house. Someone got what? Something, right? Just get on it, right? As soon as that shit goes out, they can't hide it, right? You can't get the shit back in the horse. Oh, man. I tell you, right? There really were, folks, two far-right websites, not one, but two far-right websites that were supposedly attributed and created to David DePapi. And that's his name, folks. Yes, I've revealed it. Everyone, we want to hear from David DePapi. Pop, pappy, dad. De means de in French is of, right? So David of daddy, daddy's little David. Anyways, there are two far-right websites that were attributed him to make or smear conservatives. They were fabricated, folks. They were created Friday and deleted Saturday. Again, is this a gay sex scandal? Right? Why make up? I just want to know, why make this shit up and try and hide the facts? Nancy, Hillary, Obama, right? In fact, all of the lying just attracts even more attention. Kind of like a drunk driving incident we're all familiar with. Right now, in the world of Democrats, isn't being gay a resume enhancer? Doesn't that make you more popular with everybody? I mean, look at Pete Buttigieg, Mr. Chest-feeding Secretary of Transportation himself, right? And then that other one, and I can't remember her name. It's one making me puke, right? And then you got the fruitcake who's part of the nuclear commission. This whole administration is loaded with nuts and berries and fruits. But why not just come right out and say, yes, Nancy and Paul having a strange but open relationship because they're so advanced and so evolved socially. That's right. They chose San Francisco for a reason. What a bunch of wackos, folks. They're literally whack jobs. All right. What do you guys want to talk about? And by the way, we're up over 422 and climbing again. We're climbing. YouTube can't stop us. They can't kick people off, kill the internet, and screw things up too quick. I guess they could if someone complained. Oh my God! Right? I know you work for YouTube. Tell them this John guy's making fun of us again. He's making fun of us. I know it's satire, but he's making fun of us. And I just hugged a teddy bear. I ruined a $50 teddy bear by hugging it so hard its head popped off. And that traumatized me even further. Okay, Jolene, sorry about that. We got EB with a $20 super chat donation. The super chat donations go into the Get the Fuck Back and Stay Back Fund. Folks, trust me, I would love to be in a faraway tropical jungle environment, swinging in a hammock, enjoying hanging out in a glowing yurt at night, listening to the tropical sounds of roosters and God knows what other strange animals we're lurking about. But no, I'm here. So here we are with EB20 and his super chat donation, because I got the fuck back 2 years ago for that. It was right before. In fact, folks, I got back on Halloween. Boy, what a day to get back to the mainland, huh? And it's almost Halloween again. 2 years that I've been back and stayed back because of you guys. He says, the video of the orange-haired thing eating Bible pages was strange, demonic. Interesting that many of the anti-human events accelerated around the time that were increasing UFO stories on the news. Just an observation. Just an observation. EB, I need your observations. Now, there was an orange-haired thing eating pages out of a Bible. You ask, was it demonic? Well, what he's referring to, folks, and let's leave his statements up, because the part about UFOs in the news and anti-human events. So there was a political conference, right? A conservative gathering. And there was a conservative. There was a Christian reading out of the Holy Bible outside. You know, just standing there doing their part to participate in free speech, right? So he's reading out of the Holy Bible. And a protester who looks like a freak, right? Leftists, folks, and they appear to be demonic. We're screaming, right? So a protester grabs his Bible, steals it from his hands, starts ripping it up and eating the pages. Talk about eating your words. Now get this, Matt Walsh, right, says this. Well, you can be on the side that eats the Bible and castrates children, or you can be on literally any side but that one. Your choice, America. What I want to know is why this isn't a religious hate crime. I mean, if that was someone reading the Koran and a conservative or a patriot or a veteran was outraged by it, grabbed it, stole it from them, and then tore it up and then ate it. Boy, that would be bad, because then there would be poop getting attached to those pages in about 18 to 24 hours as it exited out Paul Pelosi's rear entrance. Right? But I do like the comment. You can be on the side that eats the Bible and castrates children, or you can be on literally any side but that one. It's fascinating, folks, what they're doing. How many people right, are seeing these actions and changing their minds about the Democrat Party. I mean, what side do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the side that, well, steals Bibles, tears them up, chews on pages? Do you want to be on the side that supports satanic children's clubs at school? Do you want to be on the side that promotes sending drag queens into schools? Do you want to be on the side that promotes drag queen shows for the U.S. military? Do you want to be on the side that promotes pornography in schools? Or do you want to be on the side that promotes transgenderism in schools? Do you want to be on the side that promotes grooming children by talking about sex with them? Do you want to be on the side that promotes keeping the border open, destroying the military, destroying our legal system by, releasing information that threatens the lives of our Supreme Court? Do you want to be on the side that says we need to go to war over every single thing that, exists out there? That's right, folks. The Democrats are the warmongers. How many wars did Trump get us into? 0. None. Not even one. Not even one. Yet we're supposed to be the bad guys. Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. 1 second. Okay. Thank you very much, Jolene. All right, a little private communication behind the scenes. Folks, these people on the left, no one, it's incredible. They have a lot of people that are registered Democrats. They do. But looking at this, right? What side do you want everyone to be on? Okay. There we go. Always fun, folks. When I get news, I have to decide, do we want to discuss it? Do we not? What the hell is going on? This was a big one, though. This is a really big one, and I want to address it this way. Right? How do we talk about this? There was in Korea, South Korea, a holiday Halloween type celebration. And I don't know how to address this. I really don't. So I'm going to take a stab at it. Okay, I'm going to take a stab at it. "146 people died at a South Korean Halloween celebration. Right? There were many people trampled. Hundreds are claimed to have been trampled, leaving 146 dead. And this entire subject is weird, so it's hard to talk about, right? And I don't want to, while we engage in satire, right? This is just it's such a phenomenally strange incident. Hundreds were trampled, 146 people died, and dozens of people suffered cardiac arrest, heart attacks. How does a stampede cause heart attacks? I want to know what you guys think. Put it in your comments to one another. Why cardiac arrest? Dozens suffer cardiac arrest. Hundreds trampled. right? We know that right now around the world, people are dying of heart attacks, blood clots, strokes, neurological problems, left and right all the time, right? These super athletes that are training, kids, youths, right? Everyone who shouldn't be dying of heart attacks, we're having just a whole lot of them. Why and how could something trigger heart attacks in a public event? So a few of you have sent some ideas into me through back channels, through emails, through the private messenger here that I'm looking at. You know, what the hell? Someone said it could be a signal sent through 5G or a signal sent through the phone system, the cell system, right? A certain wavelength or frequency. And this reminded me of something that's been out there for a long time in entertainment. This idea, like, okay, are you ready for it? One of the Halloween movies, there was something put in people's masks or something put in a little button. And when they started playing a certain frequency at the end of the movie, you know, people freaked out and turned into monsters. There are other movies like Scanners where there's a certain frequency, right, causes people their heads to explode. There's concern over the potential for nanotechnology. And like I said earlier, there's a lot of videos of it that are being released now, right? People have gotten the Jim Jones juice and they're studying it under a microscope. And after it existing for a week, they've noticed that it's assembling. And this sounds so fantastic that it has to be a Hollywood movie, right? A Hollywood movie. This idea that people can be, they can use a frequency to control their minds, like in the movie Kingsman, where everyone's given a free cell phone by the bad guy. And then when a certain frequency is played, it causes the human mind to snap. It causes the human mind to snap. Pretty interesting, huh? I mean, it's really, really bizarre that hundreds of people decide to stampede, right? You know, so what I'm thinking, I mean, get this, folks, what could cause? I mean, there are all the time, probably every weekend, raves where these bars are packed with people. You know, they're shoulder to shoulder. It's a rave. They're dancing. They're taking ecstasy. They're drunk off their asses. They're just dancing, having a good old time, right? Dancing their little soy lattes off so they can stay nice and skinny, right? They're all together. They don't just instantly trample each other and run out. Why would people at this event decide to stampede? This super crowded event, stampede. Now, the media, what has the media told us? Basically nothing. I mean, did someone shout fire? Did someone pull out a plastic gun, a real gun? Was someone getting shot? Or maybe someone freaked out. Maybe they saw someone having some symptoms, right? And they started panicking and screaming, which caused others to panic and scream, which caused even more panicking. And eventually it was a giant stampede, right? The lemmings all ran one direction, trampling each other, folks, trampling hundreds of people, 146 dead, other people having heart attacks. Why would they have heart attacks? Heart attacks, folks, dozens of heart attacks, young people at a massive Halloween celebration. Freaky as fuck, as far as I'm concerned. That's really what I'm saying, right? What could it have been? And are we going to get an answer? You know what I think? I think this was a test. I think it was a test. It's a couple of days or a day or from when this happened, 2 days before Halloween. Is there a signal out there that they can send? Are people having hallucinations and seeing weird shit? Was the punch spiked? Could have been. Absolutely could have been. Now, I've got another topic that's been just frosting my cake all weekend long. I heard about this. Let me know what you think. And if you want other subjects, hey, the super chat button is yours to hit. And you pick the topic. You pick the subject. You pick the comment, whatever it is you want to leave, right? You can talk about the future, the past, predictions, etc. But this topic really, really got to me. Another huge one over the weekend, folks. Europe, America, they're urging Russia to reverse its grain deal suspension. And they're being chastised, the Russians, stop weaponizing food. Right, stop weaponizing food. In other words, Russia produces a lot of food, not just Ukraine, folks, but Russia also. And so they're being told, stop weaponizing food. What do you think about that? Are Russia the bad guys? Is it just Putin or is it all the Russians? Right? Is it just the Kremlin? Or is it every single Russian needs to be punished? Right? Every single Russian is doing this to the rest of the world? Do the Russian people hate the world? Well, it seems like the world hates Russian people. Not just Putin, not just the Kremlin, but remember when they had this problem in Ukraine, when the Ukraine conflict started out, what happened to the Russian people in America? People started yelling at them, screaming at them, cussing at them, telling them to go home, demanding that the government kick them out of our colleges, no more vacations, revoke their visas, fuck Russia and screw Putin over and, all that. Remember that shit? Remember when everyone got to get all virtue signally and hate the Russians? Well, turns out, much like Canada, Russia, in a very cold climate, is able to produce a lot of grain that feeds the world. Here we are again, folks. Stop weaponizing food, Russia. Again, I don't have any great love for Russia, but I know that they're very vital and critical to the world that we live in, whether it's the production of food or fuel or energy, right? But what has been happening to Russia is everyone wants to hate them, right? They're the bad guys. They're the bad guys in the room, right? So they want to yell at them. Okay, we'll tell the Russians to stop weaponizing food, but the United States and European Union governments, well, are they weaponizing everything else? Remember, folks, we have to sanction Russia so they can't do business. Well, when you sanction Russia, they can't import what the Russian people need, including food, folks. Russians don't live on grain and grain alone. So if Russia is sanctioned and they can't, do business, right? They sanction the monetary system. They sanction them off of the SWIFT international payment system, right? So Russians couldn't get their food either. Did anyone cry a tear for the Russian people when they couldn't get food? Right? They've gone around the system. They figured out how to go around the system now, so that they can figure out what the hell is going on, how to feed themselves. But, they were sanctioning the nation of Russia. So the Russian people suffered, folks, when the Russian government and Russian corporations couldn't do international business deals. Because in Russia, folks, they were manufacturing and they were exporting raw materials and they were importing materials and doing business. Was it fine to sanction them and hurt the Russian people that way as well as taking their food? Right? The European Union and U.S. governments have weaponized bank accounts. So the wealthy have their bank accounts frozen and their assets seized, so their corporations can't fund their businesses and pay the Russian people to do their work that they can't do because their businesses are shut down. So they can't buy food that they can't get from around the world. right? Russians, the rich ones, have their real estate seized internationally. They had their yachts seized internationally because the European and U.S. governments weaponized being Russian because Ukraine was invaded on Putin's orders. So you go after everyone who's Russian because of Putin, right? You punish all the Russian people, rich and poor, because of Putin and the Kremlin. I mean, does anyone remember all of this stuff? Or do we just look up right now and blindly say and agree with the media that we need to stop Russia from weaponizing food because that's bad, right? When world leaders, folks, screw with each other and fuck each other over, right? Bad shit happens. Russia bad? Yeah. All governments are bad, folks, when the rule of law is compromised by uber rich oligarchs who want to treat the world like a piggy bank and take advantage of countries like Ukraine. Take advantage of all countries and screw all the people over, right? Now, ultimately, in the end, it's fascinating to see how the people of the world, get screwed, and they're used as a tool by either their own government or other governments, right? Kind of the way, I don't know, the people of Nagasaki and the people of Hiroshima, they were screwed over because of what the emperor was doing, the emperor of Japan. Right? The emperor of Japan decided to go to war with China and start taking all the islands in the Western Pacific and then start working west. And so the people of Nagasaki and the people of Hiroshima got cooked with atomic weapons. Right? It is always we, the people, who pay. Right? Now, the Japanese, they were the pariahs for doing this. The Germans are pariahs, right? The bad guys, the evil, according to American textbooks for what happened. Right? There's always two sides to every story, right? Interesting stuff. And no, that is not excusing, right, all the murdering that was done by the Germans or the Italians or anyone, or the Russians, the communists, or anyone. And how many Americans died? How many Black Americans died because of medical experiments conducted by the U.S. government? See, I don't like to let anyone off the hook. Not when they have power to hurt others. I don't hurt anyone, but they want to silence me. They want to silence you. But we don't hurt anyone, do we? We just want to talk about it and be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Because we know what these people are doing. They're fucking the entire world up, and they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it on purpose. They're allowing it to happen. They're causing it to happen. They're excusing away the evil and then committing more evil. All right, let's step off of a topic I have wanted to discuss, which I just did, and let's move on to a super chat donation. And who do we have? We have William C. with a $5 super chat donation. He says, it took me a half hour to log into this live chat. This happens every Sunday. I think YouTube is behind this. God bless John for his great work. Folks, I'm just sitting in this chair. I'm just sitting in the bunker here, right? The work I do, it's interesting that it comes to me. I am merely a conduit through which the information flows. It is you guys that make it happen, you that support it, you that spread the word out there to everyone, right? Wake up, get prepared, right? Thank you very much, William. And yeah, it takes half an hour. Some people never get the messages. I call up friends and go, hey, did you get the post I made? I made a post today. And I tell them I used such and such a picture. It was a clown-shaped mushroom cloud, right? A nuclear bomb explosion, but it was colored to look like a clown. And they're like, nah, I didn't get that one. I'm like, that was a great one. You should have saw it. Right? You didn't show up in the chat. I didn't see you in the chat. And they're like, I didn't know there was a chat. I didn't get the link. Right? I didn't get the message from YouTube. Yeah, they hide it. And that's why when we get here, I say share that internet address. A lot of people think, I guess there wasn't a show because nobody said nothing to me. I didn't get a link, right? Nobody sent anything out. And Jolene does the best she can actually to take the links and email them to people. And that's why we have this other program, folks. And this program, and when I say program, it is so you can. Let me put the right banner up here. Like this one here, our free newsletter. Sign up for the free newsletter at thepreparedmind.club. Okay, a couple times a week we put out a newsletter. We try and say, hey, there's something on sale, something to prep with. We put out some special information on certain news stories, but it gets you into our email database so we can email you links to important videos like Sunday Night Live, right? Because YouTube doesn't want you in there. They don't want you to log in, right? And then even when you get the link and you try and log in, like, you may not be allowed in. It may be fighting with you and wrestling with you and everything else. That's just how they roll, though, folks. It's how they roll. YouTube, that is. Now, I got some information here I wanted to share. Shave. I want to share with you guys, right? Came from Mr. Skylight. And that's that hospitals are still killing people with their cerveza bug protocols, right? There's so much information going on out there, folks. They're trying to hide what's happening. Are you really following this still? Right? This event in South Korea was really incredible. Absolutely astounding to me because it didn't get media attention. It just happened. In fact, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get media attention. It happens and it should be national news, if not international. But they don't want certain information out. Right? They want to keep it secret, keep it quiet. They don't want it out there that so many people are having heart attacks. Can you imagine if there was a headache medicine that was on the shelves that was killing people? Well, it happened one time when I was a kid. Every time you open a bottle of vitamins or medicine, there's that little safety tab on there, and it says sealed for your protection. As if someone couldn't take a hypodermic needle and stick it through that little membrane and squirt poison all over the pills. But back in the early 80s, Tylenols, Tylenol pills, someone opened up a bottle of Tylenol and they put some sort of poison in there and someone bought them, took them home, took the pills and died. They were poisoned for taking some Tylenol. Right. So then we started getting all these safety seals. You can't open things up. The bottles on the outside are covered with this plastic shit, so you can't take the lids off. Once you finally get the lid off, there's that little seal that's annoying, and sometimes you can get them off, and sometimes you can't. Anyways, right. One person died. They recalled all the Tylenol on the planet. Right. They're like, hey, we can't have anyone dying from headache medicine, but we can have hundreds and thousands dying on a day and a week because of complications of the Jim Jones juice, and the media isn't touching it with a 10-foot pole. Don't you find that a little suspicious? It's funny, folks, and not funny in a funny kind of way. It's funny in a cynical way. It's funny in a sardonic kind of way. Right. And it just drips. Right. It oozes. What's going on in the world is incredible and very unsettling and upsetting that these things are happening. Once again, folks, I predict that we're going to have a zombie issue. Right. There's a problem with zombies out there. I think they're being created. Maybe Paul Pelosi was actually attacked by a zombie. Someone he thought was a friend of his. Somebody that he invited over at 2 a.m, who went nuts and lost his shit. You see, one of the complaints or one of the facts or one of the alleged allegations, was that Paul and this other guy from Berkeley, who is a Castro nudist, were arguing about politics. Why would anyone go to Paul Pelosi's house and dare have an argument about politics? That got so out of hand that the friend of Pelosi decided he would pick up a hammer and beat the shit out of Paul. I mean, is the gay thing to distract us from the fact that the guy went zombie on Paul? I don't know. We can't get the truth out of the media. We can't get the truth out of our elected officials, right? But we do have this going for us, folks. A teacher in New York City, he posted almost nude photos of himself on Snapchat. He flirted with his students, I guess, in an unhealthy, unsavory fashion, right? But guess what? He's been hired back. He's back in the schools in New York City, and he's teaching with a new name. I guess you can identify as another person. I guess if you can identify as a different gender, or identify as a giraffe or a fire hydrant, then I guess you can change your name. And what's wrong about that, right? If I can change my name and change my gender, why not change my identity? Kind of like the idiot wacko Christmas killer from last year, the Waukesha killer who drove his SUV into a parade and killed old women and children and injured bunches and bunches and bunches of people driving through the crowd. Right? He shows up at court and he says, he basically tries saying it wasn't him that did that, because he now identifies as being someone else and being a woman. No, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. Someone else. Admitting essentially that he's out of his mind, that he's insane. Certainly not competent, certainly not normal. To me, sounds like his brain is being chewed up. Literally chewed up. How many people out there right now? And let me ask you this seriously, folks. It is one day before Halloween, right? Are we being transformed into a world of zombies? People, unless you got the placebo Jim Jones juice and you got the real Jim Jones juice, you have complications. Right? People have their arm hurting for days and days. Yeah, that's normal. People have neurological side effects. People have pulmonary issues. People have cardiac issues. People have all kinds of issues with their system, strokes, clots, right? They start exhibiting strange disease characteristics or just death. Instantaneous, instant death. Pass out, death. People, speaking of passing out, they just pass out now for no fucking reason. Short of breath, pass the fuck out. Why? Right? You take a brain and you starve it of oxygen. You take a brain and you have micro seizures and major seizures and strokes left and right, killing off parts of the brain. What do you end up with? A semi-functioning brain. That sounds like a zombie brain to me. Can this be exacerbated by external conditions? Well, we're seeing some people, right? They start exercising, heart attack. They start exercising, run out of breath, can't breathe, pass out. Right? Is there an external way? Is there an external way to trigger it? Once again, this film came out recently, and it shows kind of a self-organization, right? This nanotechnology that is allegedly in the Jim Jones juice. It is in the Jim Jones juice. What do you got? What's that stuff? Graphene, right? Got little nanobots in there. You've got, mRNA programmers. This is some scary shit. Yeah, I know Halloween's tomorrow, and I'm normally a very comedic-centered guy. But this is some scary shit that's going on. We've got 1 week until the election. Right? What are they trying to do now? What's up their sleeve? Right? They want to tell people, stay in your homes, don't travel very far because, the climate. Oh, we want you to stay in your homes because, oh my gosh, right? Cerveza bug is back. Yeah. Joe Biden said, a month and a half ago, well, the pandemic is over. And then, whoa. Too fast, too soon, Joe, too soon. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. The world is just gone insane, right? I mean, you want some examples, right? And it's not just us little people, folks. This is what's absolutely incredible, right? On MSNBC, the mainstream media, they seem to be losing their shit as well. Now, yeah, I mean, we knew that Don Lemon is a lemon. We knew that Jim Acosta is a loser. We knew that Brian Setzer is a loser. We knew that Rachel Maddow is apparently suffering from symptoms of mad cow. Satire alert. Anyways, they all seem to be attacking people, right? Remember this. Remember how they call us evil.
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
That is what they think in the media. Well, they're back at it. On the Pelosi attacker, this is what the mainstream media has to say about it. There's an effort to normalize political violence to, quote, to make Trumpers feel at home. Do you feel more at home now that a radical left-wing nudist lunatic, who knows what else this guy is all about, attacks Paul Pelosi with a hammer? There's some good memes out there on this one, folks, where that hammer ended up in x-rays. Anyways, how does that make me feel at home? Right? Some fruitcake getting into a fight with Paul Pelosi at 2 a.m. doesn't make me feel at home. It doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. It doesn't do anything for me except, well, make me laugh at how stupid they are. But this idea of an effort out there to normalize political violence, did we or did we not just watch the mainstream media talk about how Republicans aren't to be trusted and Republicans are bad? And Republicans are evil, and they're at war with us, and we're evil, bad, evil Republicans. Hello, 2020. Hello, summer of love. Hello, summer of burn, loot, and murder by Democrats. Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and other ridiculous left-wing hate groups. They're the ones out there committing acts of hatred, folks. Attacking the police. They hate the police. Attacking courthouses and setting fire to them. That's attacking law and order, peace and justice, right? Attacking businesses, right? That is freedom. That is private property. So they're attacking us. And then, of course, looting, stealing, and then murdering. May as well do the full Monty and go all the way, I guess. Well, that's Democrats, folks. They are these radical, crazy socialists. That is the mainstream media. They're the ones pushing it. Yet they're going to try and tell you that there's an effort to normalize political violence so that Republicans or Trumpers feel at home. I feel less at home knowing these wackos are out there and up over that way and back that way. That bothers the hell out of me knowing that they're in your neighborhoods. Right? That's why I want everyone awake and everyone aware. So all of us know right? That little point is us, and the 10-mile radius around it, right? That we know what's going on in our world because we look out all the way to DC and all the way down, right, to LA and up to Seattle and then across over to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, right? And all the way down to Miami and then up over to Dallas, right? The whole country. In fact, the whole planet. That these radical wackos are out there. Folks, there is Antifa all over Europe. You bet there are. Right? They do not like freedom and liberty. They want socialism. They're not your friends. They don't like you. But they're pretending to be the good guys. Just the same way that the media pretends to be bringing you valuable, right, quality opinions, along with their very skewed and slanted and even fabricated news stories. Very, very fascinating. All righty. Now, this is Sunday Night Live. It is the zoo. It's the day before Halloween, and it's your show if you want to ask questions, bring up topics, etc., etc., etc. Now, so get your super chat donations in if you wish. But first, I've got to do this story, folks. In the city of Milwaukee, right, the LGBTQ bars are banning the Jeffrey Dahmer Halloween costume. That's correct. Right now, I believe it's Netflix has a documentary on Jeffrey Dahmer. No, I have not watched it, right? But there's Jeffrey Dahmer was capturing people, kidnapping people, killing them, and eating them, right? All of the cannibal jokes that came out about Jeffrey Dahmer years and years ago. He's now since passed away. Anyways, these bars are banning Jeffrey Dahmer Halloween costumes, right? So the gay bars, the news article I read said there's more than one bar that's called Dix, D-I-X, like D period, I period, X period. Dix, yeah, folks, the gay bars are really called Dix. But here's the deal, folks, right? So Jeffrey Dahmer is known as the Milwaukee Cannibal or the Milwaukee Monster. And he would often pick up his victims at gay bars in Milwaukee. So, right, these bar owners and bar patrons feel that it's insensitive to the victims of Jeffrey Dahmer. Actually, I think it would have to be insensitive to the victims' families because the victims were eaten. They don't live anymore. But why is it always the victim card? That's what I want to know. Why is it always the victim card? Right? If you tell a joke about someone getting beaten up because they deserved it or they made a mistake or they drove to the wrong neighborhood, if it's a joke, do you stand up and go, hey, I got my ass kicked once and I don't think jokes about getting your ass kicked are very funny. Right? We've all had our asses kicked. So do we play the victim card and say no more telling jokes about being in fights? No, we don't. Right? But that's just how these people are, right? They want to stop us from having fun. Now, what gets me, right? So the bars are having to tell their patrons, no more Jeffrey Dahmer costumes. Well, the people that are going to these bars are gay, and they should know that Jeffrey Dahmer picked up on gay guys and ate them. I'm sure it is probably some sick little game that they're playing, like, I'm going to take you home and I'm going to eat you up. I'm sure that all of the jokes are flying. Because, folks, the gay people I've met have real senses of humor. I don't know what the deal is with the rest of these people who are always playing the victim, but boy, are they good at it. What a bunch of crybabies. Happy Halloween, right? Unbelievable. Let's do this. Let's take a super chat donation and step forward with some of your thoughts and ideas. Who do we have up, Jolene? What a day, what a weekend. And it is Cottage Farm with a $50 super chat donation. And she says, hey, Prepared Mind family, do you think the real estate market is going to be another 2008? If so, when? Well, here's what I think, Cottage Farm. I'll give you my 2 bits. And you guys can also answer her in the comments section down below. But I think that before 2008, we knew ahead of time. There were signs, there were signals. Even though we did have just that one day where Hank Paulson, said, hey, we got a crisis on Wall Street. We got a problem out there, right? We had our Lehman Brothers moment. Lehman Brothers being a huge investment firm. They went under and they were not spared. They were not saved. They were the sacrificial lamb. They died so that you and me and all the taxpayers could bail out Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase City, et cetera, et cetera. But I felt 2008, folks, long before the election. And I felt 2008 long before the Hank Paulson moment, where he stepped up in front of Congress and threatened that there would be blood in the streets if they didn't give a lot of money to the banks. And I was well aware, folks, that something was going wrong, right? Well before the real estate market crashed. Right? I was doing business as a general contractor at that time. And I stopped getting phone calls. And I stopped getting inquiries. I stopped getting requests for bids for projects. And I thought, this is not good. Something is going down. Something is wrong, right? I could feel it. And it was months ahead of time, months. It's just all of a sudden, the market was up here and it just started trickling down, trickling. And then it, took that dive. But there are indicators out there, and we've gotten the indicators. We got 2 consecutive quarters of lower GDP. That's recession, right? We've had the recession, and we're told, no, everything's fine, says Biden. Everything's fine, says Karine Jean-Pierre, the spokeswoman girl for the president. So I'll tell you, Cottage Farm, I think that the real estate market is already in its 2008 moments. And this is what I have to say. Your question, if so, when, is very, very important. It is always the when. Now, back in 2008, I felt it months ahead of time in a decline in business and business opportunity. We all kind of felt it, but the when is when they want to announce it. Do you think they want to announce a recession before the election? Well, they did in 2008 because they needed McCain to have to try and answer for the economy tanking during a Bush administration. But they don't want Biden, or rather the Democrats, to face the question of what the hell's going on with the economy a week or a month before the election. The election right now is 1 week away. They don't want to come out and say, we've got a recession. They don't want to come out and admit there's a problem in housing and real estate. They don't want to admit, folks, that real estate is taking a shit. What I can tell you is that even in the South, where everyone is moving from the West Coast to Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, right? Some people are moving into, the cold states, Wyoming, Montana, but they're also making it as far as Florida and the Carolinas. People from New York, right? All of the New England states, they're moving down south. Same with the Midwest. They're moving down from all of the Great Lakes metropolis cities, and including Chicago and Indianapolis, Cleveland. Right, they're leaving Cincinnati's and they're moving south. But even down south now, something has changed in real estate. all of a sudden, people aren't buying houses. Not the way they were just 1 month ago. Literally, folks, the news I got from this super secret squirrel, inside information, a super insider told me. No, folks, you don't have to be a super insider. You just have to be awake and in the business. And once again, I find myself in the business at an opportune time to witness what's going on. The real estate market took a giant shit in 1 month. Last month, the month before. It is doing the same thing it did last time. It's wavering, falling, and it's poof, taking a dive, a serious dive. So I do, Cottage Farm, think we're going to have another 2008, but the when, they are going to want to wait until after the election. Not the day after, probably the week after. Now, here's how I think this could play out, Cottage Farm. And once again, I thank you, and everyone else for supporting the channel by funding it, by sharing the videos. That is the internet address so that people can find us, and spreading the word, your opinions, your thoughts, whether you send it to politicians, right, bureaucrats, neighbors, friends, family. Spreading the word is how, folks, we get people to wake up and realize the facts. We're seeing it right now. But I think they may wait a week or two, or maybe even a month. How good would it be, Cottage Farm? How good would it be for the mainstream media, for the Democrat Party, for Joe Biden to say at the beginning of December, we're in a recession. Look what happens when you elect Republicans. Everything is now crashed. Just in the last month, everything was fine before the election. You elected Republicans, and look what happens. Everything goes to shit. I can't believe this. Christmas is canceled because of Republicans. Christmas is ruined because of America First and Make America Great and Trump and DeSantis and John and everyone else. They would blame us. They would make the announcement. You say, if so, when? They won't wait till after the new year. They won't let everyone have a decent Christmas. I don't even think we'll make it to Thanksgiving, folks. They could ruin it 2 weeks after the election, a week, and say, we're sorry about your Thanksgiving. There's not much to give thanks for because of the evil Republicans. That's right. The Make America Great people have ruined this country. I really think that that's a possibility. You say, if we're having a 2008 moment in real estate, when are they going to, when do we know? We know when the media tells us. And we know when the politicians tell us. Because that's when it becomes fact. It's not what you feel. No, that doesn't count. Right? I know people, and they don't want to tell me, but I know people are right now, already getting laid off. That's right. People are getting fired, laid off. It's not just at Twitter and Facebook and Meta and Google. It's not just in social media. Right? Amazon is feeling it, folks. Amazon is feeling it big time. UPS, FedEx, they're feeling it. Right now, they should be gearing up instead of complaining, right, that business is bad. Now, that can change in a week. Or they could change the media story in a week to suit whatever story they're pushing. Right? It's incredible. Absolutely incredible how they lie to us on a daily basis. But they'll lie to us when it's convenient for themselves. And they'll tell us the truth even when it's convenient for themselves. Look out. We're about to do a nose dive. Right? If you tell people who are out there working and toiling in the fields, everything's fine. Go to work, get all those vegetables and plants and all that good stuff. We'll be fine. Even though the people know things aren't quite right and there's not going to be enough food to make it through the winter, if the leadership is saying, keep working, everything's fine, keep working hard, they'll at least work hard and get as much as they can. But if you stopped one morning and said, hey, everyone, I want you to work really hard, but guess what? Half of you are going to die this winter from starvation. So why don't you go ahead and go work? People would start panicking, right? They'd run around like fucking children, screaming and crying that a dog's chasing them, like their heads are on fire and their asses were catching. Right? They panic. That's what happens when you tell people the bad news, is they truly panic. The mainstream media and the politicians are holding that back. Cottage Farm, they're holding it back until they can play it. And as Rahm Emanuel, asshole Chicago mayor, and Biden and Pelosi, and especially the Obamas, he was a big time player in the Obama administration. He said, never let a crisis go to waste. We have a crisis. It started, folks, decades ago. It played out for a long time. It hit a big place in September of 2019. September of 2019, when the banking system failed, and nobody heard about it except you and me, because they didn't televise it. They didn't make it known that something bad had happened, because there's no way to gain from it. Nothing to gain, so why use it? Now they can use it. They've continued to pump money into the system. And then a few months ago, right, they started playing this game with interest rates, right? Taking them up and up and up and up and up, because, the economy was just, we needed it. Whatever they do, whatever their lie is, right, they're crashing the system intentionally. I used to think they were crashing intentionally back in 2017, 2018. Holy cow, look at what they're doing now to crash the system. But they're holding back the announcement until they can benefit, until they can have that crisis, right, play out for them. All right, let's do another Super Chat donation. I know I'm a little bit long-winded sometimes. We got Brad Jones with a $2 Super Chat. He says, I'm in for a question, John. Are you prepared? Yes, I am. I don't think you can be prepared beyond having food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Right? I mean, once you're prepared, you're prepared. I have NBC gas masks, nuclear, biological, chemical gas masks. I have walkie-talkie. I have ham radio. I have emergency radio, weather radio, right? News. I have medications. I have lots of alcohol. I have medical equipment. I have food. I have water, storage. I have water filtration. I've got a very secure location here. I have allies all around me. I have access to everything I need. But there's something I think that I have that maybe a lot of people don't. But maybe if you think about it, you actually do have it. And that would be faith, a belief in the human spirit, a belief in freedom, a belief in ourselves, the goodness that we have as people, that we can win, that we can survive this disaster that's coming. Right? I have a feeling, Brad, that shit hitting the fan is going to take a very sharp turn downwards. And I think that the Democrats are ready for it. I think that the World Economic Forum, in their great reset, they're ready for their move. We're going to find out what's coming. Right? They surprise us quite often. They do very nasty things to us. They just do. If you think for a second that the cerveza bug, the announcement of a world pandemic, if you think that that was true, or if you think that that was real, right, you're probably, in my opinion anyways, sorely delusional. Right? It was created, it was manufactured, it was hyped, it was used as part of a plan. And Dr. Fauci himself and others like Bill Gates talked about for years using a pandemic to push a medical and political agenda. Unbelievable. And they got away with it because there is no true media. There isn't a media out there. not a news reporting media that wants to give you facts and information above and beyond their agenda. It's all agenda driven. It's all partisan. It's all politics. All right, here we go. So super chat donation. What do we got next? Jolene, it is Penelope Binkley with a $100 super chat donation. She says, I'll buy you that shot, but wait till the end of the show. I'm nice like that. Keep doing what you're doing. It is invaluable. And Penelope, I'm going to have an 18-year Glenn Levitt on you. And it's interesting. I just started talking about faith, belief systems, right? Faith in your secular beliefs, faith in your scientific belief, faith in your political belief, your legal belief system, as well as your faith in that which is spiritual and religious, right? Faith, believe what you know in your head and in your heart. Believe in yourself. I have told you from, I think, if it wasn't day one, it was day 2 or 3 of the Prepared Mind Network. And it was 10 years ago, December 13th. We're coming up on our 10th anniversary. 10 years. I've been saying, these are my opinions. These are my thoughts. But think for yourself. Look the information up. Question things. Don't just believe me. Question them for yourself. And if you've done that, whether you've done it for 10 years or 1 year or 1 month, you can have faith in yourself, right? A belief that what you know about things spiritual and things secular on the planet, things legal, political, medical, military, international, everything, right? Right? Have faith in yourself is what I'm saying, right? As much as you can be forgiven, forgive yourself. As much as you can believe in someone else's ability, you have to believe in yourself. We need to do that, right? Set down, prioritize what it takes for you to be fully prepared. Cast aside that which is superfluous and not needed, and be prepared mentally for the things that are coming, that we know are coming, right? It's just that way, right? Take time for yourself, right? Yeah, I think about this stuff an awful lot. I wake up in the morning and I do 0 dark 30 on the way, driving my, sorry ass to work well before the sun even thinks of coming up. And then, at night. But you've got to take time for yourself. Recharge yourself, right? Take time to let the information that you have sink in, right? Think about it. Get rid of the garbage, right? Right? Information in, garbage out. Information in, garbage out. The old saying was GIGO, right? Garbage in, garbage out. How about information in? Because everything's information or data. Right? Everything is, we got a lot of facts. And we also get a lot of conjecture and opinion. And I have an awful lot of opinion as well as my smart-ass nature. I get it. But we need to be confident of ourselves, because when the shit gets really nasty, am I going to be here with you talking? I sure hope so. But they could also kill the internet. Folks, they've done it in other countries around the world. They've cut the internet off. Like they've done it in Cuba when they needed to silence the people. They did it in Ukraine. They've done it in Indonesia. They've done it all around the world. Anytime they need, they kill the internet. They got a kill switch, folks. All they have to do is cut the electricity at a hub, right? Where all these lines, these trunk lines, internet cables, fiber optics, they all go into a building and then get routed out in directions to other buildings, right? Kind of like we see these commercials where everything's spider webbed. Yes, the internet, World Wide Web. All they've got to do is close the gates at the hubs, turn off the power, and they silence us. That's why I want you to be prepared ahead of time, right? Have confidence in yourself, believe in yourself, have faith in yourself. It's so important. Right. Look to people who provide you information and thought. But a lot of you folks think a lot like me. Have we always thought the same, or have you shared your ideas with me and kind of helped me understand better? And maybe I've done the same for you. I've shared my ideas with you and put things out there so that you kind of go, those pieces kind of fit with my pieces. And now all the pieces fit together. I see what's coming. I can get prepared and understand and be ready and take care of things to the best of my ability. It's incredible what's coming, folks. I mean, this is incredible also, right? Trump over the weekend said that there are two sets of rules, two kinds of justice in the now communist U.S., right? Trump is now saying that the U.S. is communist or socialist, if you will. That's kind of a big statement. And he kind of added, our country is going to hell. Why would he say that? Except that people need to wake up and accept the truth and start acting accordingly. Right? I believe that we need more outspoken patriots. That Trump is a very old man. He's a tired man. He's worked his ass off. He's put a lot on the line when he didn't have to. And now he's trying to tell people, hey, the country's going to hell. Right? It's being run by a bunch of socialists, communists. Right? It's time to wake up. I think it's really critical. I think it's really, really critical that we do just that. Right? And what we're seeing is yeah, we can rely on ourselves. We can prepare ourselves. But it's incredible, folks, that leadership is there, right? Lee Zeldin is running for governor in New York and drew a massive crowd in support of his effort in Long Island. And Governor Ron DeSantis showed up. Huge push for freedom, huge push for anything other than these socialists, these communists. So DeSantis was there. And then he also showed back up in Jacksonville, Florida. Of course, he's the governor of Florida. But he was at a country music concert. And this was quite incredible. I actually watched the video on this one. Country music star Luke Bryan on Friday. He was on stage and Ron DeSantis walked out on stage and the crowd went apeshit, screaming and cheering, right? 15,000 people going nuts. This is completely the opposite of the response that AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, or Nancy Pelosi get. They've shown up at their little music festivals where liberals hang out in New York and Washington, in their in their hometowns, like in the Bronx, right? And Ilhan Omar tried holding a some kind of town hall thing and got shouted down, right? Deafening applause and support and love for characters like Ron DeSantis. Right? I told you that a friend of mine was at Bike Week in Daytona, Florida, and the governor showed up and the bikers went nuts, right? Unbelievable. We have leadership out there, folks. There are people at the top who want to fight. People like Trump, people like DeSantis, and there are people like me talking. But it ultimately comes down to you. What are you willing to do for yourself, preparing, for your family as a patriot, right? And for your country, right? As an American, what are you willing to do and what is going to happen and what's coming? Let's do this for now, though. You just save that one. Right, put it in your mind and think about it. Let's do another super chat donation, shall we? Hello, Jolene. Is Jolene there? Oh my gosh. We got one super chat donation sitting out there, I think. Unbelievable. Oh, it's an email from Darcy. That's why I didn't get it. There we go. Okay. We got another one. It is, holy cow. Darcy T sent a $100 super chat donation. And she says, my guess is that it was a sacrifice. Send a signal out. It causes a reaction with whatever is floating around in certain people's bloodstream these days. And bam, salute. I think what Darcy's talking about is what happened with all of those people in South Korea. Let me read what she said again. My guess is that it was a sacrifice. Yes, it is the day before Halloween, Darcy, and everyone else. Right? This was a sacrifice. It was a beta test. What did we have a few years ago that was really macabre? It was really morbid. It was really disgusting, which was very similar to Jeffrey Dahmerish. It was the spirit cooking thing. This witch, this Maria Abramovic, or whatever the hell her name was. Someone will tell me what the name was. They can put it in the comments down below. Right? She was the spirit cooking witch. And this is back when hot dogs and pizza were a big deal with Comet Ping Pong. And the rich were getting caught, right? And that's when Epstein got caught, and the discussion that children were being abused and children were being sacrificed, and that these people were committing bizarre ritualistic sacrificial acts. And then we had that dinner in Hollywood that was exposed as another Maria Abramovic production, where they were drinking mock blood and eating mock flesh of humans. And all manner of celebrity and famous people were there. It was very, very disgusting. Yeah, kind of crazy. Right, the sacrifice. Marina Abramovich. Thank you very much, Penelope. And Penelope's on it as usual. Mass Effect had something to say. We'll get to that in a minute. But back to Darcy T's comment about this event in South Korea, where there were thousands of people and a stampede was started, and hundreds were trampled, 148 were killed, and dozens even had heart attacks. Heart attacks. So send a signal out. It caused a reaction with whatever is floating around in certain people's bloodstream these days. And bam, you get the effect. Right? These graphines, these chemicals that are in the blood. These blood clots that are foreign. Right? Do you remember the masks? They were taking the masks and examining them under microscopes, and there were filaments, black filaments that appeared to operate on their own. Right? There were filaments, things that wiggled. They looked like creatures, bugs, parasites that were in these masks that people were supposed to wear on their mouths all day long. Right? They're supposed to be medical masks. Why do they have this junk in them? Right? How much crap is out there? But send out a signal. Right? Machines are interesting. They can be inert, or once they're turned on and they start operating, they can create all manner of havoc. Right? A tractor is a very useful machine. But if you started a tractor inside of a grocery store or outside of a grocery store and just pulled the lever and turned it loose, and it'd drive through the store, destroying and crashing everything. Could there be some of these nanobots in people's brains that if they're sent the right signal that turns them on, they could just start chewing their way through people's heads, causing them to behave erratically? Well, what about these same little bots being in people's hearts? Do you think that they could start chewing the heart apart, causing heart attack, tearing shit up, causing instantaneous strokes, odd behavior? I mean, it sounds fantastic. And I don't mean that in a good way. It sounds bizarre. It sounds tragic. It sounds horrific. It sounds like a Halloween movie. But so does what has happened in our world. It sounds like some kind of sick, fucked up world where drag queens go to school and read children books. And the schools have books teaching kids how to have homosexual sex and how to jerk someone off properly. And school boards pretending like they didn't do it and they have nothing to do with it and they can't stop it. And teachers getting fired and teachers getting arrested for being minor attracted persons. Sounds rather bizarre and crazy, like a crazy fucking movie, right? And then the idiocracy, right? Every move the government makes just happens to be the move that is destructive to our country, right? And then the science movies, the horror movies, right? Where people just go nuts and start killing each other. Zombies just come out of the woodwork. All of a sudden, there's zombies everywhere, right? Yeah, it's the day before Halloween. Yes, it's a fantastic subject, fantastic beyond belief, but here we are. Are we not? Are we not right there? Has shit not hit the fan? And then we have questions like Cottage Farm's question, like, hey, guess what? The world is nuts, folks. It's crazy. The economy's crashing. Real estate's taking a shit. The president isn't even in charge of himself. He's not in charge of anything. You got everyone leading him around saying, read these words, Joe. You're a fine robot. You're doing great. You're a terrific monkey, buddy. Anyways, folks, we're at the 2-hour mark. We've got over 400 people live right now. Joe Biden can't get 40, it seems like, people to watch him live at all. But we get 400 live for 2 hours, and I want to thank you for doing that. We got another super chat donation. Someone has a comment, and it is Cottage Farm with another $50. And she says, okay, end of show. Now a shot for all. Cheers. Okay, Cottage. Thank you so much. And the topics, the comments, the suggestions, the thoughts, we have just, we've got problems, folks, right? The Glenlivet, 18. I call this mother's milk. Right. I want to raise a toast to America, to the veterans out there who gave and fought. Some lived, many died. I want to thank everyone who supported them, who believe in America, who are moral, decent, good human beings, and also those who love freedom and support it around the world. Right? People who see what's going on and they know what's going on and they're helping people get prepared mentally, physically, etc. Right? Salut, cheers, prost. Thank you to everybody who has supported us, for supporting one another, for supporting America. Fight back. Fight hard. Fight for freedom. Fight for liberty. What do we got there? Okay. That was that. Are we done, Jolene? Have we wrapped everything up? No, we got NPNY 1970 with a $4.99 super chat donation. And he says, don't forget Gil Bates hired Marina Abramovich in 2020 for ads to launch Microsoft into the future. Don't forget, folks, there is a connection. Gil Bates, much like characters like Zark Muckerberg and Sorge Goros, right? Gil Bates, his family has always been connected and powerful. He's not the billionaire from nowhere, right? Mr. Microsoft, who happened to get government contracts so that his operating system would be adopted by the world. So his operating system would basically be used to control the world. And even Apple, right, even though they've got a little bit of a different system, it's still the same system. Looks like Windows to me. Anyways, I know the Apple people will fight me on that. Oh, how dare you, John? Apple is not the same. Bill Gates and his family are into population control. population reduction, aka euthanasia, right? Killing people, sterilizing people, aborting people. I mean, I've got to go over this. I've just got to, right? These people like them are right in line with the Pelosis and the Clintons and the Obamas, right? Nancy Pelosi issued a statement after the life-threatening attack on her husband happened. She completely politicized this. 90 Proof Nance wrote this to her commie friends looking for sympathy, but it was bullshit. And here's some excerpts from it. Quote, "We are also comforted by the words of the book of Isaiah. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Really, Nancy? You quoted the Bible? Does Nancy pray and think biblical thoughts for each and every baby that is aborted because Nancy and her Democrat cadre demand abortion clinics on every street corner, and that children should be shown and told what that's all about and that it's theirs and that it should be available to them, as well as puberty blockers? And that's how sick these people are, folks. Absolutely sick. And she wants us to believe, Nancy does, that, you know, her husband was attacked and that we need God at this time. And is that the kind of Christian Nancy is? Right? All of this information coming out about what a bunch of fruitcakes they are. And we're supposed to believe they're a bunch of God-fearing, going to church. Penelope brings this up. The enemy knows Scripture better than we do. Fact. I'll take what you have to say, Penelope, and I'll take it one step further. The enemy knows Scripture better than we do, and they use it not for good, but rather they have their own interpretation, their own mental understanding. Or maybe we could say they have an occult perspective on Scripture, which they do know and they do use, but they don't use it for good. And when they talk about God, they don't talk about the Almighty, but rather their God and what He stands for. So if I were to read, right, what I just wrote, or if I were to read what Nancy wrote, it says, "Do not fear, for I am with you." You know, I don't know, Satan maybe? Could it be Satan? Right? "Do not be dismayed, for I, Satan, am your God. I will strengthen you and help you to fight against these terrible Christians and moral and decent people. I will uphold you and hide your sins and your crimes with my unrighteous right hand." I mean, you can read into that, right? Because they believe in the opposite of good. They believe in evil, and that evil will help them conquer. I've read a lot about these people, folks, these Illuminati types, and how they treat the Bible and what they think of the words in it, and how they use it to conquer and to control. They try and sound pious and decent and good. But when we see their actions, what do we see? I mean, no one's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all sin. We're all humans. But they continue, folks, to do what they do. Look at all the harm caused by Dr. Fauci. When you look at that, do you feel like he's really trying to be a better human and help people? Or do you see massive amounts of loss and destruction? Right? Remember this guy, right? Right, how he says, I never said anything bad. I never told people, right, not that we need to shut schools, right? Remember that?
Was it a mistake in so many states and so many localities to see schools closed as long as they were?
Well, I don't want to use the word mistake.
Well, but did we pay too high a price?
There will be deleterious collateral consequences, collateral consequences, collateral consequences. If you go back, and I ask anybody to go back over the number of times that I've said we've got to do everything we can to keep the schools open, no one plays that clip. They always come back and say Fauci was responsible for closing schools. I had nothing to do. The schools should be closed. I had nothing to do. The schools should be closed.
The schools should be closed. How many children were hurt from that? How many kids? Right? I actually ran into a kid last week, folks. Cute little girl. Walked up to me, introduced herself to me. It was really funny, right? But then she said, you know, my daddy worked at home because of COVID. I'm like, why is a 4-year-old kid telling me about COVID? The kid sees COVID as a world-changing event. 4-year-old kid, right? Unbelievable what these people are doing. And then they say, no, I never said that. Well, here we have the film. Nobody ever quotes me saying I have to keep the schools open. It's because no one ever heard you say that, jackass. I mean, maybe he did and I missed it that day. But we certainly know that he said the schools should be closed because I just played the clips. Thank you, Mr. T, for putting that together for us. This is where we're at, folks. Right? The lovers of lies, right, are in positions of power and authority. Right, Penelope? All right, everyone. I'm going to bid you adieu. Right? Au demain means see you tomorrow. And adios, muchachos, to hit another language. There, I hit the triple language. Good night, farewell, fare thee well, but fear not, right? Have your faith, as discussed earlier, in all things important, including, right, that which is bigger than us. Godspeed to the world, America, and you. Semper Fi means always faithful. And I'll be back bright and early with Zero Dark 30. And thank you for supporting us at the Prepared Mind channel.